Professor Chee-Wee Tan.
Hello. Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
Chee,
Nice to see you. Yeah,
nice to see you
Professor Ku.
again.
Hi. Nice to see you
Great.
again. Yes.
Okay. Very good. Thank you very much for participation in our research seminar and allowed uh, inviting you for our students. Okay, I'm going to briefly introduce you to our students and wait a
Yep.
moment and then stage goes to you. Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. Professor Chee-Wee Tan is a professor at the Department of Management and Marketing, Hong Kong Polytechnic University, Hong Kong Polytechnic University, and former professor with a special responsibility in research excellence at Copenhagen Business School. It's a top business school in the world. He earned his PhD in Management Information Systems from the University of British Columbia. His research interests focus on design, innovation issues related to digital platforms. His work has been published in the top journal, including MI's Quarterly, Information Systems Research, Journal of MIS, Journal of Operation Management, and Journal of AI's Association Information Systems are all top journal papers. So Professor Tan has held honorary and guest professorship at the institute such as Linghan University, Monash University, Malaysia, UNSW, UNNC, USTC, and Western Baum Institution. Good. He also served editorial board of a leading IS journal and currently vice president of publication for Association for Information Systems. Okay,
Yes.
this is great achievement and performance as a professor, and he academically is a really top professional players. So it's a really honor to inviting him for our Kyunghee University students. Okay, stage goes to you. Unfortunately, he has a personal reason, so he will present his paper just 1 hour until 11 o'clock. And I'm
Okay.
going to address some more the orientation for our course. Okay, good.
Okay. All right. So thank you very much, Prof. Ku, for the introduction. So it's really an honor to be able to, give a talk at such a prestigious, speaker series. And of course, I would like to thank Prof. Ku for the invitation. So it's a pleasure to meet everyone. And what I'm going to do today, so oh yes, of course I'd like to apologize in advance because I have some personal issues to attend to, so I can only probably exchange for an hour. But what I'm going to do today is actually I guess you can see my slides, right?
It's coming. Okay, good.
Okay, so essentially what I'm doing is that what I'm going to do today is actually to present a piece of work that I've done, okay, for a couple of years now. Okay, so that's why I've not updated my affiliation. But generally, it's actually a work that I've done, looking at what we call customer delight in AI robotic service, and we're looking at the hospitality industry because based on the invitation that I have from Prof. Fu, I guess this is a topic that would be a little bit more relevant
Right.
among my research.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's why I picked this topic. So generally, it's in collaboration with colleagues in Finland. So Yong Liu from Aalto, Hong Xiu Lee from Temple University. So they are both in Finland, and of course, Zhang Xianfeng from Hainan Normal University in China. All right. So let me go quickly. So in general, now of course, I guess if you're in the hospitality industry, you must have known this. That means in Japan, the Hana Hotel opened in 2015, and it's actually the first hotel in the world that deploys
Mhm.
robotic services. So that's many years back, right?
Mhm.
Now, however, in 2019, the hotel laid off half of its robotic employees, so they actually go back to having humans. Okay. Now, and according to reports, more than half of the hotel's 243 robotic employees actually create more problems than they solve. So, why is that the case? Now, so this is something that, kind of motivates our work, which is trying to understand, in the hospitality industry, what's the implications of really deploying robotic services? So if you look at artificial intelligence, robots, basically, it's very straightforward. They're really cognitive computing systems that has features that mimic human cognitive capabilities. And the idea there is, of course, they try to behave like humans, right? And what it means is also the idea there is there's a long-standing research that claims that basically through this human-like interaction, AI service robots really revolutionize how one interacts with technological artifacts. And AI service robots, of course, is very different from conversational agents or chatbots. So everybody's familiar with chatbots because chatbots is deployed extensively. But what's really different is that AI service robots actually has a physical presence. So you can really see the robot and interact. So it's not just software-based agents, but it's also the fact that you have this physical presence there. So what we try to answer here is that given all these characteristics, so what's the consequences and what's the antecedents and consequences of really deploying robotic services? So the theory that we look at is actually Kano's theory of attractive quality. So basically what it says is that according to Kano, basically the idea there is, generally consumers have multiple needs. And the idea there is that when, whenever you have a new innovation in the service industry, now usually, okay, they start off okay, by actually eliciting so-called delight or satisfaction. So basically what they do is that, if it's something that's new, right? Then the minute you come across it, the first reaction is that, of course, you're delighted because you've not seen it before. Okay. So this type of innovations, okay, what it does is that, when it's available, they actually elicit delight and satisfaction. But because it's a new innovation, people don't expect it. So basically, it does not really cause dissatisfaction when they are not available. So what happens is that given this situation, now, if you look at robotic service, so we see robotic as an innovation in the service industry or the hospitality industry. So our expectation is that naturally, when you have robotic services, then you really get delight and satisfaction. Okay. And the idea there is that, we are arguing that this robotic service, the minute you introduce it, okay, there is actually it really adds a new element, okay, which is delight, okay, to the customer experience, but its excellence does not really cause dissatisfaction. So that means people don't expect it to be there, but if it's there, it really causes delight. Now, so based on this, okay, then we talk about, then we look at literature on really what is delight. So basically, if you look at delight, basically delight is something that goes beyond satisfaction. It's really about the fact that you have something that's extraordinary. That means that's something that people believe that, it really exceeds their typical expectations. And of course, in literature, basically delight has been associated with a number of benefits like loyalty, repeated visits, word of mouth. Okay, so based on literature, we suggest that actually delight is two elements. So it's really joy plus surprise. So as I mentioned, delight is not something that you expect. That's why you have the element of surprise. And then on top of that, of course, it has to be positive or pleasant. So you cannot be delighted if you're surprised, but then negatively, right? Then that would be a horror rather than a delight. So basically, what we're suggesting is that really delight is really this element of joy plus surprise, where surprise, really increases the curiosity, and what it does is that it then directs individuals' attention to this stimulus. So this is actually the way that we actually perceive delight. Now, and of course, we also draw a distinction between delight and satisfaction. So delight, okay, cognitively is very different. Satisfaction is more cognitive. That means the fact that, okay, does it satisfy what I need? So it's a very rational assessment. Whereas delight is affective. So if you look at it, surprise is an affective emotion, joy is an affective emotion. So essentially, it's much more affective. And then the expectation is that if you think about satisfaction, basically you have a very fixed schema. That means most of the time, satisfaction implies that when you come in, you already have some expectations. And then the question is actually, do I feel satisfied? That means, do I really have expectations? Whereas delight is very different. Delight is actually the fact that now you do not expect it. So there's no expectation to come from. Okay, so it's actually a positive schema discrepancy. So basically, it's basically stating that, in fact, you do not expect something, but then it is actually there. So there's a pleasantly surprise. So there's a pleasant surprise element to that. And the performance wise, okay, satisfaction requires a performance that meets or outperform expectation. So that's satisfaction. So basically, you have my expectation because you already have expectation. Okay, so essentially, what happens is that if it meets or outperforms a bit of the expectation, then it's satisfied. Then you're satisfied. Whereas delight is really out of ordinary performance. That means it's something that is no basis. So this is what we are suggesting. And then the consequence, okay, in terms of memorability and loyalty is much more different. So delight is associated with enduring memory, the fact that you tend to remember very delightful experiences, and then it has a strong association with loyalty. Whereas satisfaction is more associated with normal memory and has a moderate association with loyalty. So essentially, what we are suggesting is that delight, the inducement of delight, okay, in hospitality is way more important than satisfaction because satisfaction just makes you ordinary. It makes you the same as any other hotels that meets that expectation. So if you think about it, it's like a five-star hotel, right? So your expectation of five-star hotel is more or less the same. There's not much difference. So the only thing that they can do is if I can give you a delightful service. That means something that you truly find memorable and also out of your expectations or out of your what you really expect or what you really anticipate from a five-star hotel experience.
Okay,
So what
Professor
we are
Tan,
yes, please.
I have a question for this framework. You said
Yes,
delight is way above satisfaction,
yes,
and the people surprisingly happen to meet something
yes,
special, novel
yes,
service,
yes.
and customers in hospitality sectors, we look forward to the kind of delight
Mm-hmm.
beyond satisfaction. Is it right?
Yeah.
But my
Yes, what
question
I'm
is, like,
yes, please.
my question is, people are at very first stage. We are delight to meet such a one-time surprising or unexpected
Mm-hmm.
service. But
Yes,
if we are repeatedly, frequently used, the
yes.
delight reduce at the normal stage, and that goes to satisfaction. That is my
Yes.
question.
That's a very good point. So actually, this goes back to Kano's theory of attractive quality. What he says is this.
Mm,
Now, generally, if we look at what really goes on, is what he's saying is that whenever there's a new innovation, right?
mhm,
So the first thing that happens is always the first time people come across this. Like if this is the first time you come across a robot in
mhm,
the hotel,
mhm.
then you'll be pleasantly surprised. So you'll be
Yes,
surprised, and then you have a good experience. So then you'll be delighted.
yes,
Now, this is something that you remember. Now, and of course, you have to meet the basis of satisfaction. That means, of course, you have to have clean rooms, everything. But that's really, the basic satisfaction, right?
mhm,
But then, what really happens is that
mhm,
over time, you're right, Prof. Koo, in the sense that this, if you have repeated interactions or repetitive interaction with this innovation, the
mhm,
delight drops.
mhm.
Now, then, what does this mean? What this means is that then it becomes the norm. That means now people expect that.
Mhm.
So a delight through over time becomes a necessity. So it moves from a competitive advantage to a competitive necessity. So which is why the level of service or the level of things that you have to provide actually increases over time. Because a lot of things when you start off it is actually a delight, but then it becomes a necessity afterwards.
Okay. So which
Yeah.
means this is a T0
Yeah.
point, and then times goes by T plus 1 stage.
Yes.
We feel, oh, no longer delight. And that's
Yes.
a necessity part of our service.
Yes. And then people will still, keep expecting that now because
Okay.
it's like, for instance, a good example that I can give is like the best example is when I come from the time where, computers first came out, right?
Yes.
So when computers first came out, actually, I guess a lot of the students may not know this, but when computers first came out, there's no such thing as a mouse.
Mm-hmm.
So you buy the computer, then you buy the mouse separately.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea there is that the mouse is actually an additional product. So that means
Mm-hmm.
it's actually a delightful product. But then
Okay.
over time, because everybody buys mouse or
Okay.
everybody wants the mouse, that becomes a competitive necessity. So now
Okay.
there's no such thing as a computer that comes without a mouse.
Okay. Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's the same logic. So same thing in the hospitality industry. So if let's say if the first time you come to a hotel and then they provide you with lounge access, you'll be delighted because you don't expect that.
Mm-hmm.
That means you don't expect that there's such a thing called lounge access.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's happy hour and things like that. But then over time, you come to expect that as something that should be given. So then that becomes the expectation. So your expectations actually evolve over time. But that's a very important question.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. So basically, because of the sake of time, I'll go a bit faster in terms of the theoretical foundation, because basically what suggesting is that if you have robotic service deployment, so from a delightful angle, right? So generally, we believe that hotels deploying robotic service will then receive more positive customer ratings. So that means they're more likely, because of the delightful experience, they're more likely to receive more positive customer ratings. That's one. And then the deployment of robotic service, as I mentioned, is a so-called excitement factor, or it's actually a delight. Okay, such that consumers who have been exposed to the robotic service will more likely feel satisfied and delight. But the lack of exposure will not lead to customer dissatisfaction. So this is to prove the basis of delight. That means the fact that it's something that you don't expect, but if it's not there, you're not going to feel dissatisfied as well. And then what we are suggesting is that then among the customers who are most satisfied with hotel performance, that means among those who are really satisfied with hotel performance, those who have been exposed to robotic services are more likely to revisit the hotel than those who have not. And then among the consumers who are most satisfied with hotel performance, those who have been exposed to robotic services are more likely to write lengthier reviews than those who have not. And then the third is actually among those who are most satisfied, okay, those who have been exposed to robotic services will express more emotions of surprise and joy in their assessments. So basically, we prove 1, 2 first, which is actually the fact that first, if you have robotic services, you are more likely to receive more positive ratings and more customer reviews. So that's the first thing. The second thing is we prove that it's really a delight because the fact that, okay, basically what it means is that if you have deployed the robotic service, customers who have been exposed to that is more likely to feel satisfied and delight, but the lack of exposure will not lead to dissatisfaction. So that's to prove it's a delight. So, and not just basically satisfaction things. And then the three hypothesis is basically, the customers who are most satisfied with hotel performance. That means you're talking about the ones that are really, really satisfied with hotel performance already. Then if they have come across robotic services, then they're more likely to display, repeated visits, okay, loyalty in terms of lengthier reviews, and also greater joy. So that's the basis of our hypothesis. Okay, and then based on that, so this is the consequences of robotic service. Then if you look at our research question, we also touch on, okay, what really drives this robotic or this delight, right? That means why is it that they're really delighted with robots? So for this part, which is the antecedents to robotic service, we look at uncanny valley theory. I don't know how many of you are familiar with it. Basically, what it says is that because robots, they have autonomy and they have human likeness. So basically, what it means is that it's very easy for them to threaten human identity. So that means people feel sometimes threatened by the fact that they're so human-like. Okay, so uncanny valley basically what it says is that uh you know because of the fact that so this is the uncanny valley. So let me show you. So uncanny valley is that as robot becomes more like human, right? That means
Uh-huh.
as they become more like human, of course their familiarity or their experience goes up.
Uh-huh.
Okay, then when it reaches a certain tip, then they'll go straight down.
Uh-huh.
Okay, because of the fact that then they suddenly feel that they are threatened by the robot. And then only then, after a while, okay, then that's actually where the human is. So the what it's saying is that human likeness, there must be a certain level. That means if you go beyond a certain level, actually people would feel threatened by the robot.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So basically uncanny valley theory, of course, it's been proven in certain aspects, which is suggesting that, for instance, the book of Stock et al. In 2019 suggests that there's a bar of service performance, okay, that is, it basically, if you're not performing as good as a human,
Uh-huh.
then, okay, it's actually, the customers will actually have greater trust in the human and both the Android and the humanoid. So basically what it's suggesting is that to a certain extent, basically what it's suggesting is that to a certain extent, basically, you have to have a bar performance that is slightly below human. So of course it talks about this uncanny valley. And a key aspect of the uncanny valley is actually focusing on what they call anthropomorphic properties, which is the fact that how much is the human likeness of the robot.
Mhm.
Okay. Uh, and based on that, basically the idea there is that the robot presented. So let's say if I look at the picture, okay, then basically what it's saying is that according to the theory, this is generally the robotic service that you find in hotels.
Okay.
So the robot presented in the left figure can hardly achieve customer affinity. That means people don't see this as humans. Okay. So of course they have no chance to achieve a positive outcome as compared to human.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question for this uncanny valley theory.
Yeah.
Like your paper probably is a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
There was the time Hana Hotel adopt
Yes.
their robotic service, and
Yes.
and then they as heavily promote their robotic service in hotel context. And
Mm-hmm.
soon after,
Mm-hmm.
the Hana Hotel robotic service is proven to be bad, and people really hate their
Yes.
performance. Probably there was the time here, and suddenly uncanny valley to a certain
Yes.
point. And
Yes.
now, 2025, the situation become quite different from
Mm-hmm.
Hana Hotel context to
Yeah.
AI assisted robotic service, which is more anthropomorphistic way of talking,
Yes.
anthropomorphistic, Android, appearance. So,
Yes.
so people are again the robotic service increasing rapidly their expectation and performance comparing to those times when the Hana Hotel case. What do you think
Yes.
about that case? And what do you think of your point of expert where we are the robotic
Yeah.
service in our business?
Yes. I think in the hospitality industry right now, that at least my experience is that generally they are trying to because the idea there is that they would like you to actually experience to a certain extent the warmth. So now they've really differentiated. So what they do is that in the past, when they talk about anthropomorphism, they are always talking about how it looks like.
Mm.
So what it means is that generally in the past, one of the biggest challenges is that when you look like robot, then sorry, when they make the robot to look like human, then the problem there is that humans actually feel threatened because to them it's like what they say is like a zombie,
Mm.
because of the fact that okay, it's like this very rigid sort of expression, but then it looks like human, so it actually feels threatened. So now what they are doing, which is as what you suggested, which is really what they do is that they do not try to have visual anthropomorphism. That means the fact that
Mm.
when you look at it, it doesn't look like a human. But
Okay.
then vocally, they try
Mm.
to make it sound like a human.
Mm.
Because actually, research has suggested that when you have people react better to, voices that are more reassuring, that likes, that talks like a human. Like for instance, a good example is like the navigational tool in your car, right? Now you can always input different voices. So they can tell you, okay, turn left, turn right, at different voices, right? And then the idea there is actually to have vocal anthropomorphism and not visual anthropomorphism. So now, based on Uncanny Valley, what they're suggesting is that visual anthropomorphism is really not important. What's
Mm.
really important is actually vocal anthropomorphism.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's
Now
my
it's a figured
understanding.
out by AI,
Yeah.
vocal and communication, the style, human-like conversation.
Yes. Yes. So now they like try to have human-like conversation, but then the robot just looks like a robot. So which
Okay.
is which is really what I experience right now.
Okay. Mhm.
Yeah.
I see.
So basically, what we are arguing then is actually, uh, because of that, okay, then it's no longer important to really focus on human likeness. Instead of what's important is actually to look at cuteness. So we're suggesting that the reason why people react better to robot is if it's designed to be a bit more cute.
Mm.
Okay, and then cuteness design is actually one of the key design strategies for actually trying to endear home robots to the users. So basically, what it does is that as robot designers, then basically you have to. So the suggestion is that you should really think about the use of cuteness, uh, that helps people to really create this relationship of intimacy and playfulness. That means the fact that when things looks cute, right? So if you think about cuteness, then it's a totally different concept from human likeness, because human likeness is it tries to look like human. Like humans are not necessarily cute, but what you can do is that you can make objects cute, like what I've shown below, right? So you have a neutral stapler and a cute stapler.
Mm.
Okay, same thing with a pen. So or with a spoon. It's always possible to incorporate this
Mm.
cuteness into the design and not make it anthropomorphic or not make it human-like. So what we are suggesting is one of the reasons why people react better to robotic services today is because they try to act more cute.
Mhm.
That means they are not trying to become more human. Instead, they're more cute. So
I
this
see.
is very different from Hannah, because Hannah tries to make them very real.
Mm.
So what we are suggesting is that these days, robots. So in some of those robots, they have small those phases where they try to imitate phases and things like that. So it actually makes things more cute. So this is what we are suggesting. That means the antecedents for that is actually why people are delighted. It's not because of this human likeness, but it's actually because of cuteness. So basically, what we are suggesting is that okay, so based on this, then we have the other part, which is the antecedents of robotic service deployment. Okay, so basically what you're suggesting is that basically the presence of positive convenience evaluations will lead to presence of high customer satisfaction. Okay, so as long as it's convenient. So there's two parts to that. One is if it's convenient, people will always lead to satisfaction. But if they actually assess the robotic service to be playful, to be cute, then it will actually lead to delight. So delight comes from playfulness and cute, and not from convenience.
Okay.
So that's a big difference. So basically, robots of course can be convenient in the sense that they deliver things to you and etc. But the more important thing is actually if they find the robot to be cute and then to be playful, then they will actually lead to delight.
Here's my questions for
Yeah.
the AI context. We
Yes.
use a lot ChatGPT and the other Claude
Yeah.
AI, whatever AI,
Yes.
is quite impactful to business and society and individually.
Hmm.
But like when you mentioned the cute and
Hmm.
playfulness,
Yeah.
I feel from the ChatGPT, playfulness, like a social playfulness,
Yes.
act like human and conversation like a human, and they listening my voice and respond to promptly what I
Yes.
want. However, I don't feel any cute from AI
Yes.
chatbot. So,
Yes.
what do you think about that? Is uh, if we provide something cute aspect
Yes.
for ChatGPT text,
Yes.
there are people more delight when they are conversation with ChatGPT.
Yes, I think there are different ways of actually creating cuteness
Mhm,
in AI. There is one is, of course, what we are arguing here is actually more in terms of the way that they interact. So it comes from the interaction.
mhm,
But there are other ways, like for instance, in ChatGPT, right?
mhm,
So ChatGPT is like a good example is that if you use social me messaging tool,
mhm.
then you can always express cuteness through like showing emoticons, right? Like
Emoji.
emotions
Yeah,
and
yeah, yes.
yeah, that's also a way of actually creating cute interactions.
Okay.
That means you're trying to appear playful, you're trying to appear, trying to appear as though you're behaving like a little kid. So all these are actually interactive
Mm,
cuteness.
okay.
That means you try to make
Mm,
interactions cute. So there are two ways of doing cuteness. One is of course the appearance.
mm,
That's something that robots can achieve
mm.
that software agents can't, because software agents they have no appearance, but they can also make themselves cute by actually creating all these aspects. That means what they can do is that through the interactions, the way that they express themselves, the way that they show like crying face, whatever, they can also make that cute. So I think generally for depends on, because we have another work which actually looks at basically what we call AI companions. That means now there's also this AI companions where people actually talk to them when they are when they have nothing better to do or when they're lonely or whatever. Then during that conversation, it's very important to not come across as very professional. So I think that's the difference between ChatGPT and all these AI companions, because they're designed for different purpose. So ChatGPT is designed more like, the AI version of Google. So that means they try to answer things, they try to respond. So they're trying to appear very neutral. Whereas if you're AI companion, then it's very important that, you try to interact people in different ways. I mean, sometimes you have to act cute, sometimes you have to express sympathy. So I think that's actually where the trend is going. So yeah, so I think that's actually where the future is. That means you can always design cuteness, but it's just that there are many ways of designing it. One is actually the appearance. So appearance wise, you can look cute, or you can actually make use of cute in terms of the way that you interact or the way that you speak. So that's also possible. So basically, what we're suggesting is that the minute that people evaluate cuteness, that means if they believe that, the robot is cute, then they're more likely to have delight. So that's our key postulation.
Mm.
So how do we prove this? So this is just a background. So how does hotel service robots work, right? So these are actually two reviews that we extracted. Okay, so a cute, intelligent robot will serve you when you ask for something. When you arrive at the door, you'll make a phone call, first in English, then in Chinese. After opening the door, you can click the open button to pick up the things, then click the close button and give the robot a rating. Oh, the robot will say something like, "Oh, giving me a good rating, and mom will give me sweets." Then it will slowly retreat and leave. So this is an example of when they find it to be very cute. Then the other one is same thing. There's also a small robot in the hotel, which is very fun and can talk to people. It didn't squeeze into the elevator, so it said it would take the next one. It was very cute. So things like that, people find it to be cute.
Hmm.
So how do we really test this? So what we did is that, okay, our data was collected in 2019, 2016 to 2019. So during this period. Okay, and then what we did was that, okay, we actually extracted the reviews of 132 hotels, okay, which supposedly have robotic service. That means basically we go to a platform, a review platform, and then we actually look for keywords where they talk about robots in their reviews. So basically we do text analysis. And then the minute they mention robot, then we actually extract we actually extracted 132 Chinese hotels that have reviews containing the term robot. So and that is corresponds to about 450,000 reviews. Okay. Now, so basically this is what we did. So and then we use two methods of actually getting the final reviews. So first, okay, we look at these reviews. Okay, so this is the set that we have, okay, that mention robots. Then we identify, okay, how many that has 64, sorry. So for the reviews, actually we identify 64 hotels with robot-related reviews. And then we actually physically call each of these hotels to ask them, have they really deployed robots? Okay, then that would be 54 hotels. Then we also search, manufacturer sites and industry news that mention whether or not they have this robots. That they mention that they also have deployed robots. Then what we did is that then again we confirm by phone or by social media, okay, the hotels that have robots. So based on these confirmed hotels, then we shortlist them. We shortlist them, okay, based on the fact that whether or not we can find reviews for this hotel. So that we combine these two lists, we have actually 132 hotels for text mining. So this is actually where we get the total reviews. And then on top of that, okay, we do propensity score matching plus the ID. So basically what we do is that we compare hotels roughly, at the same level, same city, and then basically, out of the 132, right, we can only find propensity score or actually comparable hotels, that is hotels that we can compare with, for 122 of them. So basically it's 122 hotels that we know for sure that they have deployed robotic services because we actually call them. Then there is actually reviews available. Then, okay, we actually have a comparable hotel in the same city, the same hotel class, okay, that does not have a robotic service. So basically we are comparing ones with and ones without. Okay, so we have to do that in order to make sure that they are comparable. So this is actually how we actually arrive at the data. So basically, the first step is to confirm that all these hotels have robots, make sure that they have reviews that we can actually extract. Then also they have comparable counterparts. That means there's a control group that we can compare them against.
It's quite a long time
Yeah.
period to collect data.
Yes.
2016, 2019.
Yes. Because of
Okay.
the data is actually sorry, the data is collected across 3 years. So basically what we did is that we basically the more time consuming is actually calling the hotels and trying to confirm that they
Okay.
really have robots.
Okay, I see. Mm.
Yes. Because because sometimes they mention, but actually it's not true that they have robots. So
Okay.
you actually have to call them to confirm, and sometimes you have to repeatedly call them.
I see.
Yeah, and this is a start time for the 122 sample where they actually start having robots. So the earliest is start as early as December 2015, and you can see that it picks up over time. So actually, 15, 16, there's only some hotels that started experimenting with it, and only around 18 and 19, then it starts to pick up. Then, there's a lot of hotels that offers robotic service. So basically, we have 450,000 reviews of 102 hotels that's published before 2019. Okay, and then the reviews out of this, actually the reviews referencing robotic service is 7,170. So you can see there's not a lot of reviews. Now, and then there's irrelevant reviews, 11. Okay, so what it means is that there's such a thing, because sometimes, in the hotels, they have robotic competition. But then the idea there is that they do not have robots, but they're participating in some robot competition. So basically, all these reviews, we actually extracted them. And then reviews that indicate an unfulfilled needs, we also remove them. Okay, so things like it's actually not because they're robots, but instead what they're saying is that, charging, defect, long queues, and system updates. So this is not about um, the robots. It's actually about the fact that, okay, they say something about the robot. That means, like, for instance, they're saying that the robot is charging, or the robot is defective in the hotel. So basically, they have not been served by the robot. So we also excluded all these reviews. So the final sample of reviews containing robot service, that means where they have really been served by the robot, is actually 7,088. Okay, and then if we look at the breakdown of customer reviews by hotel attributes, then you can see that, okay, so robot, if the attribute is mentioned versus not mentioned, okay, there's an obvious difference. So you can see that it's 4 point. So if the minute they mention robot, right, it's actually you have the highest hotel rating among all the attributes. Okay, and then if the attribute versus not mentioned, there's actually a major difference. So based on this, okay, what we do is a textual analysis. So basically, we read all the 7,000 overviews, okay, and then basically, then the text that's pertinent to robotic services, then we use that to actually do textual analysis based on topic modeling. So basically, we read all the reviews first, okay, and then extract the keywords that people associate with robots. Okay, so child, deliver, cute, love, etc. And then on top of that, we do machine learning. That means we do natural language processing to actually perform textual analysis. Okay, so this is a topic and exemplary review. So based on this, we extracted 7 topics. Okay, so this is more like children, little kids, etc., etc. So we have all these different ways of categorizing. Okay, and then we do propensity score matching plus difference in difference. Okay, so basically the idea there is that, of course, why do we do this? Now, we have to actually control for the fact that, first, there could be external factors. Because at the time, of course, that's before COVID, because at the time, the hospitality industry in China is growing. So hotels, we are afraid that hotels deploying robot service will naturally attract more customers, because they are featured in the news. So for that reason, we have to control for the same type of hotel and see whether or not with or without robot does it make a difference. And then there could also be sample selection bias because of the fact that now hotels that deploy robotic services, of course, is generally those that possess greater amount of resources, and then they will actually benefit from all this market expansion. So generally 4 or 5 star hotels. So we also need to control for the fact that, these hotels, because of their greater resources, okay, is it true that it's really because, that means the service delight, right? Is it really because of the fact that they're simply 4 or 5 star hotels, or is it because of the fact that they have really deployed robots? So we also take that into account. And then, of course, this is actually with propensity score matching. This is before. So you can see that, okay, before there's some significance. And then after that, when we do propensity score, so without robots, the sample, of course, is much larger. It's 11,000 and then 122 for with robots. Then after we do propensity score matching, then you can see that none of the attributes are significant. So basically, we do a comparison between the two. So that means if you look at the number of attributes, none of it is significant. That means there's no systematic difference now between those with robots and those without robots. Then we can test our results. Okay, so hypothesis one. So robotic service deployment, does it give rise to greater customer ratings and reviews? So what you see is that, okay, so then we do a treatment, which is before, and compare it against 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. And then what's very obvious is that, okay, so if you look at treatment D times robotic service, right, at the bottom, so the impact on hotel performance. So 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, if you look at the results, is all significant and it's very stable. So basically what it means is that the minute you have robotic service, the overall rating is always significant. And then same thing with review volume. So regardless of is it 6 months, 12 months, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, is also very positive.
Here's
Okay,
my
that means
question for this.
yeah, please.
Why you particularly measures every 3 months for the usage? Is it
Oh,
it's
yeah,
just checking on the beginning stage and adapted stage
yeah,
and the infusion stage?
yeah. Because actually what we did is that we want to see whether or not actually does the results dissipate over time.
Mhm.
That means basically over time, has it weakened? So what we notice is that at least in a 1 year period, right,
Mhm.
the positive effects of robotic service is always there.
Mhm.
That means it does not disappear.
Mhm.
That means both in terms of rating and in terms of review volume.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah,
So if our student and me
yeah,
refers to your papers at this
yeah,
moment,
yes,
probably we can ask 3-star hotel, 4-star hotel, are you currently using AI service or ChatGPT for corresponding with your customers? And we
yeah,
can classify the without, with hotel and
yes,
ChatGPT or AI. And
yes,
we are
correct.
exactly copy and paste your way of research methodology.
Yes. So basically, you have to find a comparison. That means basically, let's say if you want to look at a hotel in Seoul, right? Whether
Okay.
or not they have what happens to them after they deploy ChatGPT, right?
Okay.
Then what can be done is that you can find another hotel in Seoul that has not deployed ChatGPT.
Okay.
Then basically, I have two groups, right? There's one is with ChatGPT, one is without
Mm.
ChatGPT, but they're
Okay.
comparable in terms of
Okay.
whether are they 5-star, 4-star,
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then you can do this analysis.
Okay. I see. Mm.
Yeah,
Very good. Okay. Mm.
yes. And then to prove hypothesis two, okay, is actually whether or not robotic service deployment really leads to increased customer satisfaction and delight. So basically, if we look at basically the growth in the ratings, okay, so of course, the highest is actually when the robot is mentioned, so it's about 4.88. And then what we did here is that, okay, so basically we do a analysis, we do a group comparison to actually discover that customers who reference robot in their reviews, right? First, it reports significantly higher overall rating than those who wrote about service, room, cleanliness, facility, or price. Okay, that means the rating, the positive rating is statistically significant. Okay, and then the presence of robotic service, okay, left consumers feeling more satisfied, while the absence did not leave most consumers feeling less satisfied. So this is to prove that it's really a delight. So what you can see is that, okay, the average rating of reviews referring to robotic service, right, was significantly higher than the average rating of reviews that did not mention robotic service. Okay, so you did not really have that. Okay, but okay, the average rating of reviews that did not mention robotic service. This is to prove that if I don't mention robotic service at all, the average rating, okay, did not differ significantly across all ratings. So that means, in other words, if I mention robot, the minute I mention robot, my average rating is always higher, for sure. If I don't mention robot, okay, the rest is more or less the same. That means it doesn't matter. So the reviews are more or less the same. So basically what it means is that having robots, you definitely get way higher rating, but not having robots, you do not get lower rating. Yeah.
Good. So,
And then, yeah, sorry.
you
Yes,
said
Prof. Ku.
exactly Kano models reflected that the
Yes,
outcomes.
yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yes. And then the validation of hypothesis 3 is actually among consumers with the highest rating on hotel performance. Okay, because why? Because generally the idea there is that, of course, if you have very high ratings, right, you're bound to revisit more. You're about to write more. You're about to say more good things, right? Now, the question is actually, it's very common. The question is actually now, if I mention robot, do you revisit even more? Do you write even more? Do you express even more joy and surprise? So basically what we did is that in hypothesis A1, you can see product related reviews. That means what we did is that we compare, for instance, let's say Prof. Ku, okay, you write a review about robot, right? That means, is it more likely that I detect that you revisit the hotel and write another review later in the future? So what we discover is that if you write a robot-related review, in the future, that means in the near future, okay, you're very likely to have a 73.2% of writing a subsequent review for this hotel. So it also implies that there is actually a revisit. Whereas if you write a positive review for any other things, the chances of writing a subsequent review is actually 22.3%. Okay. And then the minute you actually wrote a robot service, then your reviews are likely to be much longer. So it's about 85.67 Chinese characters. Other reviews is about 32.48. So basically, again, you write a longer review. And then based on, if you recall, based on natural language processing, then we compare, okay, each word in the review, and then we compare normal reviews versus robot-related reviews. And then we find that the number of joy scores, that means the more expressions of joy or more expressions of words of joy, more expressions of words of surprise, okay, is again significantly higher. So again, they express more joy and more surprised. So basically, it's basically expressing delight in that sense.
Good.
Yes.
It's another one is like a lengthier review here.
Yeah.
They are probably surprising at the new service
Yes.
by Robotic.
Yes.
And then they give their expression what they're feeling about the hotel, and then they review the texture, blah 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 blah, something like that.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah, you're right, Prof. Crew, in the sense that they tend to write more because of the fact that they find that it's actually more to say about things.
Okay, I see.
Yes. And then lastly, we also try to look at anthropomorphic factors per our research. And then what we say is that, okay, basically we suggest that, okay, reviews that actually contains the words like fun, playful, they're more hedonic. Okay, reviews that say it's more convenient, it's more effective, they are more utilitarian. And if they describe the robot as more cute or lovely, then they are more anthropomorphic. So that means there's actually three different types of assessment of robotic service. That means hedonic means that they find it's fun, playful. If it's anthropomorphic, then they say it's cute because it's more related to that interaction. And utilitarian is if they say that the robotic service is convenient or effective. Okay, based on this, then we look at the overall satisfaction rating. And then what we did is that we do what we call a QCA.
Oh,
So we do a QCA, and then we discovered that, okay, so basically the configurations for delightful robotic service, okay, you can see that cuteness, the ones in black, actually has the most configurations. That means cuteness is very important. That means if you have cuteness and then you have then the rest can be absent, is fine. The only solution that is not cuteness is actually at the bottom four. But then it's actually where they have playfulness, and then if it's mentioned a kid.
Okay.
So that's when they will say it's delight. Whereas if you are looking for satisfaction, then you can see that cuteness is not that important. So if it's just satisfactory robotic service, then cuteness is not that important. Convenience is very important. And it's actually convenience, okay, that's configuration 3. Okay, and then the rest is actually either you have so-called indifferent condition for playfulness or cuteness, or you have indifference conditions for convenience. So what you can see is that satisfaction is very different from delight. So delight configurations really emphasizes anthropomorphic properties.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good
Okay.
point.
Yes.
Good point.
So let me try to wrap up because I guess my time is up.
Yeah.
So basically what we did is that we advanced delight, okay, as a complementary concept to satisfaction in the context of robotic services. Then we offer evidence on the positive effects of robotic service deployment on service performance. And then we also demonstrate that antecedents of satisfaction and delight really differ for robotic service. And then we also supply robust empirical evidence that suggests that anthropomorphic properties, okay, are very important, okay, to lead to customer satisfaction and delight.
Okay.
And then implications for practice is that, okay, so it's very important that, when you think about robotic service, delight is very important as an important metrics for measurement. And then we point out that actually cuteness is the most important when it comes to delight for robotic service.
Okay.
And of course, we recommend the deployment of robotic service in the hospitality industry. So that's a quick wrap up. I'm sorry that I don't have more time, but that's the general.
It's okay. Great. It's a great paper and insightful the outcomes. And
Yeah.
I'm very delighted to invite you for our students who are major in the hotel and tourism. So your paper definitely great reference for them.
Okay.
Okay.
So yes. So thank you very much, Prof. Koo. Yes, and of
Okay.
course, if you have I'm of course happy if you'd like to interact in the future. You have my contact. Prof. Koo has my contact, and of course, you're welcome to always contact me. And if you have any questions or any feedback about paper, just let me know. But I really appreciate the opportunity, and also I'd like to thank Prof. Koo again for the invitation and also for the questions.
Okay. Thank you very much. Look forward to see you